What if the greatest luxury car ever built was actually a monument to its creator's greatest heartbreak? SFX luxury car door closing. Then subtle dramatic tone. This is the hidden tragedy behind the Bentley Badger story, not just of automotive excellence, but of brutal corporate betrayal that left its founder, Walter Owen Bentley, forever exiled from his own legacy. Cut to B-roll, slow motion shots of vintage Bentley racing footage. At the absolute peak of his success, with his cars dominating the world's most prestigious races and his name synonymous with luxury, Walter Bentley would experience a fall so devastating it would haunt him for the rest of his life. MC1. How does a man go from building an empire to being legally forced to work for his most hated rival? The truth is more shocking than any fiction. Our journey begins in the foggy streets of late 19th century London. In the year 1888, Walter Owen Bentley entered the world. As the youngest of 9 children in a comfortably well-off family. Cut to B-roll. Archival footage of Victorian London. His father had built a considerable fortune in the silk and wool trade, providing a life of privilege that should have steered young Walter toward business or academia. But from his earliest days, Walter's mind worked differently. MC2. He was utterly captivated by machinery, by the intricate dance of gears and pistons, by understanding what made things move. While other children played with toys, Walter, at just 9 years old, famously acquired a second-hand bicycle and immediately dismantled it completely. Not out of destruction, but out of an insatiable curiosity to comprehend every component and its function. Zoom in on Hans taking apart a mechanical object. His true passion, however, was reserved for the colossal steam locomotives that powered Britain's railways. He dreamed of becoming a train engineer, an ambition that seemed at odds with his family's expectations. So at the age of 16, he made a decisive and bold move, dropping out of school to become an apprentice at the Great Northern Railway in Doncaster. Cut to B-roll. Historic steam trains at a railway yard. It was here, working with his hands, that he began to truly understand engineering principles. But, ironically, the man destined to become a motoring legend initially held a deep-seated disdain for automobiles. He saw them as unreliable, noisy contraptions that churned up mud and frightened horses, hardly the future of transport. MC3. The turning point came as the 20th century gained speed. Walter couldn't ignore the rapid evolution of the internal combustion engine. The burgeoning world of motor racing, where engineers could test the limits of speed and durability, began to captivate his competitive spirit. MC4. Was it possible that these disgraceful vehicles held the key to his future? 18. He took the plunge, purchasing a British-made belt-drive motorcycle. With the help of his brother, Horace, and his railway colleagues, he immediately began tuning and modifying the machine. Cut to B-roll. Vintage motorcycle racing footage. His natural talent was immediately apparent. He started entering and winning local races, collecting gold medals and building a reputation. This success fueled an obsession, leading him to the most dangerous motorcycle race in the world, the Isle of Man TTMC5. Though he crashed on his first lap and never won the event, these setbacks only hardened his resolve. He was mastering the art of performance, and his path was now clear. He was heading straight for the automobile industry, the very field he once mocked. In 1910, Walter took a practical job at the National Motor Cab Company in London, maintaining a fleet of Unix taxis. This hands-on experience immersed him in the daily realities of automobile mechanics. But then, personal tragedy struck. MC6's mother passed away, and upon returning home for her funeral, Walter discovered she had left him an inheritance of £2,000, a small fortune. He now faced the biggest decision of his young life: return to the security of his job, or risk every penny on his own automotive dream. He chose to gamble. SFX dramatic musical sting. By 1910, a 22-year-old Walter, now a man filled with ambition, began a new chapter at a London motor cab company, maintaining and operating a large fleet of Unix taxis. It was here, surrounded by the daily grind of combustion engines, that his academic interest transformed into a burning obsession with the automobile engine. But then, personal tragedy struck. His mother passed away. The moment of breakthrough came not in a workshop, but on a trip to France. There Walter noticed a lightweight, decorative piece made of an aluminum alloy. As he picked it up, he was struck by its incredible lightness compared to the iron and steel he was used to. Most engine pistons at the time were heavy cast iron or steel, contributing significantly to the vehicle's overall weight. A radical idea sparked in his mind. What if these crucial components were made from this lighter, brighter metal? The engineering challenge, however, was immense, and well-known aluminum in its pure form was not as strong or as heat-resistant as steel. It would soften and melt under the intense temperatures of a running engine. Undeterred, Walter began a period of relentless experimentation in his workshop, mixing aluminum with other elements. After much trial and error, he eventually settled on a revolutionary formula of 88% aluminum and 12% copper. This experiment proved to be a spectacular success. The new aluminum pistons were dramatically lighter and stronger, boosting engine performance to previously unthinkable levels. His cars became significantly faster, shattering speed records and grabbing headlines across the motoring world. He was now on the very cusp of launching his own company, his dream finally within reach. Then, history intervened, and the First World War began, bringing all civilian ambitions to a screeching halt. The war forced a pause on his dream, but not on his ingenuity. British engineers united against a common foe, and knowledge was shared for the national good. In a moment of profound irony, Bentley shared the secret of his revolutionary aluminum pistons with none other than Mr. Henry Royce, who promptly adopted the concept and applied it to his designs for the Rolls-Royce Eagle, an aircraft engine that proved devastatingly effective for the British Air Force. Walter himself was directly commissioned by the government, tasked with producing a modified version of rotary aircraft engines. The following 3 years were a whirlwind of creation and passion. From a small, unassuming workshop in Cricklewood, Walter and a former British war pilot, Clive Gallup, worked tirelessly to design the first true Bentley car. The result was the magnificent Bentley 3-liter, a super-advanced vehicle for its time, featuring the world's first production car engine with 4 valves per cylinder, dual spark plugs, and an overhead camshaft. They immediately took their creation to local races and hill climb events, where they quickly found success and began to build a formidable reputation based on the car's brutal performance and undeniable looks. By 1922, the car was entered in one of the biggest races in America, the Indianapolis 500, earning a respectable 13th place in its debut. It was the grueling 24 hours of LA Mans, however, that would define the Bentley legend. Initially, Walter was deeply skeptical, remarking that he thought the whole thing is crazy, believing cars weren't designed to stand that kind of strain for a full day and night. His mind was completely changed when 2 of his own customers, John Duff and Frank Clement, took their privately owned Bentley 3-liter Sport to the inaugural 1923 race and finished in astonishing 4th place, also setting the fastest lap. These results electrified Walter. He entered an official factory team the following year, and in 1924, John Duff and Frank Clement achieved a first-place victory at Le Mans in their Bentley in just 3 short years. Bentley had gone from selling its first vehicle to conquering the biggest racing platform on the planet. It was beyond Walter's wildest dreams. But while these glorious victories gave the Bentley brand enormous publicity and prestige, they masked a growing cancerous problem. The business of racing and producing such high-quality cars was astronomically expensive, and the company was struggling to turn its acclaim into financial stability. Walter was an engineer, not a financier, and he desperately needed capital to keep his dream alive. Salvation arrived from an unexpected quarter. An incredibly wealthy diamond mine heir by the name of Wolf Barnetto bought his first Bentley in 1925 and fell in love with it. So much so, he began investing vast sums of his own cash into the bleeding company, eventually taking full control in 1926. He and a group of other independently wealthy ex-military racers, dubbed by the press as the Bentley Boys, took over the company's racing efforts while Walter could focus on what he did best, designing and engineering the next generation of road and race cars. Together, they became legends, playing a major role in building the brand's prestigious, unstoppable reputation. The Bentley Boys were more than just racers. They were celebrities, rich playboys who lived a life of adventurous luxury. They loved to party, drink, and place reckless bets, treating life itself as the ultimate race. Having survived the horrors of the First World War, they were motivated to squeeze every drop of joy from life. Their most famous off-track exploit involved Wolf Barnetto himself, who famously raced his Bentley Speed 6 against the Calais-Méditerranée express train, a famous French express train, from the south of France to the English coast. He wagered £100 that he could start in Cannes at the same time the train departed, and reach his London club before the train reached Calais. Despite running out of fuel and bursting a tire, Barnetto won his bet, strolling into his club for a cocktail just minutes before the train pulled into the station. It was the peak of the brand's power and prestige, an era of seemingly unstoppable momentum. During this golden age, Bentley released legendary models like the 4.5-liter and the mighty Speed 6, which were incredibly powerful, big, and fast for their time. The Bentley Boys drove them to 4 consecutive, earth-shattering wins at the 24 Hours of Le Mans from 1927 to 1930. With racing prowess definitively proven, Walter turned his full attention to his ultimate project, his masterpiece, the magnificent Bentley 8-liter. It was among the longest, most luxurious, and most powerful cars in the world. Praised for being the fastest and most durable Bentley ever built, while other production cars struggled to reach 60 miles per hour, the 8-liter was proven to effortlessly exceed 100 miles per hour. To top it all off, despite its massive and powerful engine, the car ran almost dead silent. It was the true embodiment of Walter Bentley's original vision, a silent sports car, a true racing car disguised with touring luxury. It was his crowning achievement, but a dark time was right around the corner, and the timing for his masterpiece could not have been worse. The Bentley 8-liter was launched in 1930, the very year the Great Depression, triggered by the Wall Street crash, began to strangle the global economy. Demand for astronomically expensive luxury vehicles evaporated overnight. The very masterpiece that defined Walter's dream, the 8-liter, became the anchor that sank his company. The costs of developing and producing such a complex vehicle were immense. And with no one left to buy them, the company's finances collapsed. In 1931, barely 2 years after its greatest racing triumphs, Bentley Motors was declared bankrupt and put up for sale to the highest bidder. It was quickly bought by an anonymous company known as the British Central Equitable Trust. However, this was a cruel deception. The anonymous company turned out to be none other than Bentley's greatest arch-rival in disguise. They had not bought Bentley to save it, but to kill off the most threatening competition to their own vehicles. Walter was furious, devastated, and utterly powerless. Everything he owned was sold, including his beloved factory at Cricklewood. To add the most profound insult to injury, he was court-ordered to work under Rolls-Royce management from 1932 to 1935. The founder of Bentley Motors was now a mere employee, isolated in roles as a test driver and customer liaison for the very company that had consumed his life's work. He was stripped of all influence, left watching as Rolls-Royce used the Bentley name for their own purposes, creating badge-engineered cars that shared chassis and engines with Rolls-Royce models but had lost the fiery soul Walter had imbued in them. He was even forced to return his personal Bentley 8-liter company car. After his humiliating contract ended in 1935, Walter finally left, a broken and divorced man. He spent the rest of his life working for other British car companies, like Lagonda and Armstrong Siddeley, until his final retirement. He died with no children in 1971 at the age of 82, a man who had changed the automotive world but never got to enjoy the fruits of his labor. Bentley Motors, under Rolls-Royce, became a ghost of its former self for nearly 5 decades. It was until the engineering firm Vickers acquired the company in 1980 that attempts were made to revive its sporting character with models like the MLC and Turbo R, but the true Bentley renaissance didn't begin until 1998, when the Volkswagen Group acquired the brand. With massive investment and a renewed focus on its heritage, Bentley was back at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2001 after a 71-year absence. Just 2 years later, the Bentley Speed 8 achieved a spectacular first and second place victory, echoing the glory days of the Bentley Boys. The subsequent launch of the Continental GT in 2003 supercharged sales, proving the world still craved the unique blend of luxury and brutal performance that Walter Owen Bentley had originally envisioned. Today, the brand thrives, a multi-billion-dollar testament to his resilient spirit. But one must look past the gleaming showrooms and the powerful engines and wonder, was it all worth the ultimate cost for the man who started it all? His creation became his gilded cage, his life's work his final sentence. This story really makes you appreciate how accessible knowledge and skills are today. Back then, Walter Bentley needed years of hands-on toil, failed experiments, and real-world hardship to master his engineering craft. Now, you can develop incredible high-income skills from anywhere in the world. A fantastic place to start this journey is Brilliant.org. I use Brilliant personally because it transforms complex topics in math, science, and computer science into interactive bite-sized lessons. It's not about passive video watching. It's about active learning that sticks. I've recently been exploring their computer science foundation path, which begins with the absolute fundamentals and gradually builds up to programming and even neural networks. It was always a topic that seemed too intimidating, but Brilliant has made it a low-pressure and exciting new skill for me to learn. The best part is that it's fun. It uses interactive puzzles, riddles, and games to teach you, so it never feels like a chore. At the same time, you're learning real, useful skills that you can apply to level up your professional career or simply satisfy your curiosity. Right now, you can try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for 30 days. Just visit brilliant.org/winds-of-thought or click the very first link in the description below. The first 200 people to use that link will also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. My thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. The tale of Walter Owen Bentley is a powerful, timeless lesson in ambition, sacrifice, and the fragile line between a creator and his creation. If you found this journey from the heights of glory to the depths of betrayal compelling, please show your support by giving this video a like. It really helps the channel. And make sure to subscribe to Winds of Thought for more deep dive stories from the edge of history. The story of Bentley is not unique in the cutthroat world of business and automobiles. The founders of many other great brands, like Chevrolet, Bugatti, and Ferrari, faced similar fates of being pushed out of their own companies. Which tragic founder's story should we uncover next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.